Hello, my name is Mamadou Mete, and I am your host of Talk 225. This is a podcast about sports, culture, gaming, anything in general. This is Talk 225, and I'm tired of the gatekeepers. So I'm going to build my own gate. And this is what this is. Talk 225 is not just about sports, it's not just about culture, it's not just about gaming. Talk 225 is basically about opportunity, it's about shifts. It's about seeing where the world is moving before everybody else catches up. It's that simple. And today, I'm essentially going to be talking about the rise of the virtual stadium. We're talking about something that people still don't fully understand or fully respect, and that is esports, electronic sports. This is the rise of what I call the rise of the virtual stadium. Because let's be honest, people laugh at gamers all the time, but the numbers don't laugh and money does not laugh. I asked one of my homeboys the other day if gamers were can gamers or esports players be considered athletes? Nothing but laughter. I'm saying right now in esports, the numbers don't laugh, the money don't laugh, the audience does not laugh. So what's really going on? That's the question. What is really going on? Is this just a phase? Or is this one of the biggest shifts in sports history? Let's talk about it. This is Talk 225. I'm not just gonna be chatting. I'm gonna mostly be chatting, but I'm gonna be chatting with some knowledge that's gonna bless not only me, but y'all. So let's do it, man. Huh, man. It's like you can feel the nervousness. But all right, let's get into it. What is electronic sports? You feel me? Electronic sports, esports can range from anywhere from video games, basically video games. That's the best way to put it. You got 2K, NFL, Madden, like then you got other non-traditional gaming sports such as League of Legends, Dota, Clash Royale, a whole bunch of other things. It sounds like gaming and topics all sounds competitive, repetitive, annoying, but here's what people don't realize. Competitive gaming, competitive gaming doesn't just start on Twitch. It doesn't just start with Fortnite. It doesn't just start with Call of Duty. You know what I mean? This dates way back. Way back to like around the 1980s. Around the 1980s, there was this company, this man, this brand called Atari, who hosted the Space Invaders Championship. Now, this is the 1980s on the electronic gaming aspect of the world from Space Invaders. And guess how many people showed up? I'm really talking to myself right now. Man, whatever. Guess how many people showed up? Over 100,000 players showed up to play in that Space Invaders tournament. And this was before the internet, mind you. This was before the internet. This was legit way before the internet. People physically gathered around arcade machines to compete. Like, that's a stadium. That's damn near a stadium. 100,000 people gathering in an arcade to compete in Space Invaders back in the 80s. We in 2026 right now, gang. We is in 2026. Like, man, it's crazy how big this is, and it's crazy how bigger it's getting. It's not, it's insane, man. That's a stadium, just analog. Fast forward to the late 1990s, to the late 90s, Space Invaders happened in the 80s. Let's fast forward to the late 1990s and let's move away from America. Let's go to a whole different side of the world. Let's move to South Korea for an example. In the 1990s, South Korea hit an economic crisis. Like real, this is real life. You could do research on this and find out that I'm telling you the truth, bro. Like the government invests heavily in broadband and internets. and a whole bunch of other things that just did not feel me. It was just they were going through a crisis that wasn't really allowing them to flourish the way that they can. But something came up during that crisis that shifted everything for the South Korea community. The government invested heavily in broadband internet during the economic crisis. So that means PC bangs, gaming cafes, all of that popped up everywhere around South Korea. Now, now there was this thing called StarCraft at the time that just became a national obsession during the 90s in South Korea. You feel me? Because the internet advantage and all that expansion, all the use, gamers were on television, they gained sponsorships, they had fan bases. This was all way, way before America even ever respected esports. South Korea, they're the ones that normalized it. Now let's think about that. That's real life. Think about that. They normalized gaming. They normalized and gave opportunity to gamers to have sponsors and a fan base. Let's fast forward to modern day. We got Twitch. We got all these gamers that are huge for all these platform and bases, and that all trickles down back then. Back then, like culture decides what's legitimate. That's all I'm gonna have to say, not tradition. You feel me? And there are a lot of people now in the streaming world that are ever changing the esport culture for real, for real. They're doing stuff that people would never seen possible. You got streamers such as Queso, you got gamers such as Muhammad Light, you got even traditional Twitch streamers that are gamers that are doing whatever they want, like Speed, Kai, Tota, Ray especially. Ray, you've been doing your stuff, man. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Real right. But that aside, let's fast forward to about the 2000s, the internet era, when the internet became real big, man, real big. This is the era where LAN parties started to happen, Counter Strike tournaments started to evolve, Halo events started to get big. Insane. This is where Major League Gaming started structuring itself in the US and becoming a competitive nature. Ain't that crazy? Like gaming structured itself in the US to the point where it was competitive and everybody and their moms was playing. I'm talking about I'm talking about a major turning point, a major shift that you just don't see. But here's a real turning point. In 2011, man, Twitch, Twitch launched. Twitch launched in 2011. That's crazy. We're in 2026. What is that? That's 15 years? Twitch is probably one of the biggest platforms out right now for content creators if they want to be on that lane. You feel me? It's just insane, bro. Before Twitch, you had to win to matter. You had to win in gaming to matter. You had to be the best of the best who even had sponsorship, fan bases, all of that. But after Twitch, you just got to be entertaining. Like you just got to be able to entertain, hold attention, be attention. Attention is currency, bro. Attention is currency. And if you're a gamer and you legit nice at it, or if you just terrible at it, ass at it, but you know how to entertain, hold a conversation, and get people engaged while you talk, man, you just hit a stride for yourself, bro. Because gaming at that point, after 2011 with Twitch and everything like that, became content. So now people just don't play. Now it's not just about playing the game, you stream the game. You got people coming in to watch you play. You got people coming in to see what you're doing, what you're about, how it's going on, all of that. You feel me? This allowed gamers at the time to build a brand for themselves, to build a following for themselves, and they evolve from being just nerds. From being just nerds in the basement anymore. They evolved from being nerds in the basement playing games. Like think about it. Back then, if you were just a gamer playing a game in the basement at your house, people would say you're a loser. People would say that you don't know what you're doing, you're wasting your time. But right now is the perfect opportunity to get involved in that. It's the perfect opportunity to be able to properly understand the gaming network and everything within that, bro. Because right now, thanks to Twitch and thanks And thanks to the booming of gamers, of streaming, gamers aren't just basement nerds anymore. And gamers aren't just non-athletic. What's that word in college for players who don't, for college students who don't play sports? NARPs. They're not just NARPs, not athletic regular people. They're not just NARPs anymore. You feel me? They're now entrepreneurs. For example, the Fortnite streamer Ninja, he signed a massive deal. He signed a massive deal with Fortnite with all these sponsors, making one of the biggest streamers in the world at a certain point. Through Fortnite, making hella bank. That's a fact. Hey, that is a fact. Numbers do not lie. My hands are up. Numbers do not lie. That is a fact. Okay. But aside from that, I'm about to bring up somebody that very few people know. However, he became a global icon. I mean, I recently discovered him about a year or so ago, but his name is Faker. His name is Faker, and the games he plays also insane. I don't even know if he speaks English, but I know he understands English. And I know his fan base, his Korean, Asian fan base, they know about him and what he does. Like, he's like, that's a good comparison. I would say LeBron James of that world, but LeBron James is one of a kind, man. But right now, thanks to gaming, Twitch streaming, streamers make millions without ever touching a physical field. Feel me? They could sit in their room, talk, chat, play the game, touching hella bank, hella bread. Feel me? That's not just hobby energy. That's athletic energy. What I say, keyword, athletic energy. You feel me? Athletic energy. So that brings me to the question of, can gamers be considered athletes? Hands are up. It's a valid question. Can gamers be considered athletes? Let's talk about it. Talk to five. Can they be considered athletes? You feel me? Hey, valid question, bro. Valid question, bro. But before I even give my own take on that, bro, let me make this personal for a second. Let me make this a little bit personal for a second. I am a former Division One athlete. I've been in locker rooms, I trained, I competed, and I've seen the politics, I've seen the gatekeeping and the who know who's and all of that. You feel me? All of that. And now I can say this with certainty, traditional sports isn't just about talent no more. And that's real right. The fact it's about access. It's about access. If you don't get recruited, if you don't get seen, if you don't get the right coaches, you're damn near invisible. And that is a fact. That is a fact. Now think about gaming. Now think about the gaming world, bro. Now think about the gaming world. This is the athletic world with recruitment, access, all that. Now let's shift to gaming. In gaming, completely different landscape. Like, you don't need a scout, you don't need a booster, you don't need somebody to believe in you, bro. You log in, you do your due diligence, you play your game, and you get right. Like, you perform. That's it. Real simple, bro. Like, you can log into 2K, put in a couple hours, get a 99 overall, and then next thing you know, you hear, you hear, you hear the harmony. Is it a harmony? Trombone, trumpets. You hear the trumpets singing, and next thing you know, you hear the dark hills of Texas. The gamers should know that if you play 2K. The deep dark hills of Texas. If you play 2K and you're a gamer, you should know that for a fact. But yeah, now you log in, you perform, and the scoreboard does not care about your background at all. It does not care about your background. It doesn't care where you're from. It doesn't care if you're white, black, Hispanic, Asian. God damn it, it don't give a feel me. It does not care. It does not care, and that changes everything. That changes everything. If you're nice, and that is a fact. That is a fact. If you're nice, bro. You're right. That changes everything. I'm talking about a kid in Harlem, a kid in the Ivory Coast, a kid anywhere in the world, bro. California, Brazil, Utah, fucking Arkansas, Australia, like Yakistan, Botswana, like Benin, Ethiopia, like France, Spain, Italy. It don't matter regardless of anything. None of that matters, bro. None of that matters. You log in, you game from anywhere, and you could real right succeed. You can real right succeed, bro, because you have the same server, same opportunity. All you gotta do is be good at the game. All you gotta do is be able to learn the game, play the game, and that's a disruption. That is a disruption. This is dangerous to the old system, and that's a fact. That's why people resist gaming so much. You feel me? That's why people resist this new type of electronic sports gaming that's happening. You feel me? But all of this, all of this major shift happened thanks to Twitch. That's the fact. Twitch most definitely did up the whole scale for the whole community. And this is Talk 225, you know? It's I want to call it a gaming podcast, but it's more so just a podcast of me chatting and talking. But I do want to focus on what I think is the rise of a virtual stadium, which is esports. I do want to focus on that. However, hey man, I gotta do my due diligence, my history, and bring it back. So let's talk about the heavyweights. Let's talk about the heavyweights of this gaming shit. You feel me? You got the Titans, you got League of Legends, you got League versus Dota. Like, let's talk about the heavyweights, man. League of Legends, they are basically what I like to consider the king. They're basically what I like to consider the king of viewership. Like the king of viewership. I'm saying world championships pulling millions of concurrent viewers. Millions of concurrent viewers. That's damn near the numbers that Kai did during streaming university. Facts. Damn near the same numbers that Kai did during what, my fifth on three with LeBron James? Facts. That's another fact. Hey, my hands are up. I ain't lying. You feel me? But yeah, nah. The Titans, League of Legends, they are the king of the viewership, bro. I'm talking about millions of concurrent viewers watching somebody play a video game. It sounds insane, but this is real life. This is real life, bro. And I'm not just chatting the chat, but I'm talking facts. I'm saying my hands are up. I'm talking facts, right? So now let's continue on this topic. As you can see, World Championship pulling concurrent viewers from League of Legends. I'm talking about franchise league, corporate structures, polished broadcasts, through gaming, millions of people watching somebody play a video game. Bro, it's the NFL's model of esports, basically. It's like the Super Bowl of esports. It's like the Super Bowl for electronic sports, for gamers. League of Legends, the king of viewership, crazy. Structured, predictable, branded. You could do that? It's a damn shame I never played League of Legends. But I'm grateful that I know the knowledge beyond League of Legends, and that's a fact. Now let's compare League of Legends to Dota 2. Now this is international. International. I'm talking about different countries outside of America. I'm talking about Canada, even though that's in the American hemisphere. You feel me? I'm talking about Asia. That's a continent, not a country. But I'll be cracking myself up. My God. All right. I'm talking about Asia. You feel me? I'm talking about Japan, North Korea, South Korea, China, Taiwan. You feel me? Dota 2, DOTA 2, the international. This international competition once had a prize pool of over 40 million. Let's take a moment to sit with that. Dota 2, DOTA 2. That's four. Dota 2, Dota 2, DOTA 2 had a prize pool of over 40 million. Crowdfunded. Crowdfunded. You know what that means? You know what that means? Hey, crowdfunded. Feel me? Funded by a crowd. What does that mean? That means the community built the pot. The community built the pot. Now, Dota is deeper, harder, and more chaotic than League of Legends. But it's fair to say League of Legends polished the empire. Hey, my hands are up. I'm speaking of fact. League of Legends polished the empire. That is a fact. That is a fact. Dota is just the hardcore premise. Feel me? They were the first to get that big ass prize pool of 40 mil just by playing the game. Hey, just by playing the game. Hey, man, this is 40 mil. Ain't like the time Hitman, his clan, and all that was playing for 40 bands, and then you had Zaza and CC doing whatever they was doing. But hey, Hitman, if you was in that 40 million pool, and if you was on the team with them, I could only imagine what you would do, bro. And that's a fact. That's a fact. But hey, League of Legends, Dota, all of this structure versus chaos, corporate versus community. Let's focus on which models wins for the long term. For the long term, let's focus on which model wins, bro. Here's a question that I got, even though I'm talking to screen with no viewers. It'll get posted later. Y'all see it, whatever. But here's a question I got. Does franchising, does it stabilize esports or does it sterilize it? You know what I mean? Because when you franchise something, that means it got bigger. That means there's more of it. You feel me? You got it in different parts of it across a country or internationally and globally. But does franchising esports, does it stabilize it or does it sterilize it? I I'll give my opinion. I'll give my opinion on it. I would say you could agree to disagree or just disagree. It don't matter. You got your own choice, your own mindset, your own mindset. And I'm saying, I would say it stabilizes it. Definitely does stabilize it. Why? It just allows more people to be able to join, and it makes it more brandable. You feel me? If it's franchised to the point where there are folks outside of Asia playing the games, folks in Africa playing the games, folks in Europe, folks in both North and South America playing the games. Like, bro, shit. Even the very 10 people that go to Antarctica every year, they play the game down there, bro. You never know. You never know what could happen, bro. Franchising might stabilize it, but other people got other opinions. They can talk what y'all gotta talk. I'm just saying what I gotta say. And that's a fact. That's a fact. Tell me, gaming is big, gaming is huge. Oh man. But there's so many hidden facts about esports that most folks don't know, bro. And I'm gonna just say this, bro. The business and the financial liquidity of it, insane. Insane, but you can't even fathom the possibility of how much it's bringing in annually. As of right now, in 2026, the industry alone brings in around 1.8 to 2 billion with a B, not an M, a B. That looks like a B, right? Yeah, with a B. Oh, wait, that's a. Oh my God, bro. I just be cracking myself up, man. Yeah, nah, but I'm saying though, the esports industry brings in anywhere from 1.8 to 2 billion annually. The gaming industry overall, I'm talking about solely esports, brings in 1.8 to 2 billion annually. Now the gaming industry, I'm talking about the overall gaming industry overall. Feel me? GTA 6, which might not ever come out, but hopefully it does because it's been coming out for the past 10 to 12 years. GTA 6, 2K, Madden, League of Legends, Red Dead Redemption, Marvel Rivals, Fortnite, all of that. Oh, the entire gaming industry, NFL, Madden, FIFA, that's 180 billion. That is 180 billion with a B. With a B. With a with a B. That's 180 billion with a B, bro. With a B. With a B, bro. 180 billion with a B. Not a M. Not a M. My name is Mamadou, bro. It's not with a M. My shit start with a M. It's with a B. See, it's with a B. That would be Bamadou. You feel me? 180 billion. My hands are up. I'm not lying. Word of bro. Word of bro. But yeah, now esports, that's just a competitive slice of that 180 billion pool that people talking about. Revenue streams from sponsorships to media rights to ads to merch to publishers, partners. Twitch, yeah, I did it. You feel me? Then you got other platforms that's bringing in like Kick and all that. Hey man, it's a way in, it's a way in. All I'm gonna say. But many esports organization, but let's be very honest. Despite these numbers that I'm spitting out, let's be real. Some of y'all might think it's cap. In fact, a lot of y'all might think it's cap. But do your research, do your due diligence. My hands are up. Do your due diligence. My hands are up, bro. My hands are up. Many esports organizations aren't profitable. They're not, and that is a fact. That is a fact, bro. I'm gonna just tell you that's a fact. You got venture capital flooding the space. You got teams overexpanded. You got layoffs hitting. You got bubble talk starting. Like shit just getting out of hand from time to time, bro. It's a lot going on. It is a lot going on. So I started off with saying the biggest shit to rise of the virtual stadium, but now I'm wondering, I'm questioning myself, like, yo, is this thing? Is it gonna collapse? Is it gonna fall? Like, is it gonna go away? Like, or is it correcting itself? Hmm? Is it correcting itself, bro? Is it? Because I'm saying Twitch, Kick, all of this is essentially giving them the boom, giving them the home. You feel me? Because every emerging industry has a boom, but then a reset. Then a reset, then it matures. Now, my question is, who survives the rest? Who survives the reset? Who survives the reset of this whole thing, bro? Who will survive the reset? That's my question. I want to know. That's what I want to know. You can answer that on your own because I don't think I know the answer to that, but I do believe I might have the knowledge to back the answer to that. But I don't want to give a full answer. You feel me? That's just something that I feel like, yeah, I got it, or I got to do, or we got to do. Hands are up. Correct. But nah. That aside though, oh, man, it's just crazy how big this is, bro. But then again, who knows? Who knows? Let's talk about ownership and dynamics, though. The whole power structure, the whole thing, esports, all of that, bro. Traditional sport franchises. We're talking about traditional sport franchises. Like, I'm a Giants fan. New York Giants. Feel me? Scatterable, Art, Jameis Winston, New York Giants. Those are the faces right now. Winston, damn near. My hands are up. He might have had one play, but that was a tough ass play. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I ain't even gonna lie to you, bro. What, how was it? How did the play go? It did a QB snap, faked it to a receiver. He ran down it as a receiver, QB catching as a receiver. The fuck out of a juked up out of a cornerback and then scored a touchdown and then went on to do something like that, whatever that was. That was tough. And then he later on posted a video of him doing that workout during the summer when it actually translated to real life. Tough. Hey, hey, well, why is the lighting messed up? But hey, my hands are up. I ain't lying. I ain't lying. But but that aside though, let's talk about traditional sport franchises. I'm a Giants fan, and traditional sport franchises such as the NBA, the NFL, the MLB. What else is there? The PLL. What else is there? The WNBA, cricket, whatever league that is. There's a league, the Savannah Bananas. I forgot. I don't know. It might be baseball, but I don't think it's baseball. I heard the name Savannah Banana. I know it's owned by Jerry V or the something clowns. But either way. Traditional sports compared to esports, we're talking about multi-billion-dollar valuations. You feel me? Closed ecosystem. We're talking about scarcity controlled by leagues. And esports though, ain't none of that shit. Ain't none of that shit, bro. Ain't none of that shit. Publishers own the game. That's it. So they own it. They don't got all these other structures, all these other stuff happening. You got Riot who own League of Legends. You got Valve who own Dota. And that means the teams don't fully control their own destiny. You know what I mean? You don't just need investors, you need mission, different power dynamic, whole different power dynamic. But here's a shift. Here's a shift though. Here's a shift. attention is the new stadium. Attention is currency. I've been trying to say this, bro. Attention is currency, bro. Attention is currency. Why do you think streamers are so big? Why do you think streamers are so big? But influencers hold power, streamers hold power. And that is a fact, bro. If you can keep somebody's attention for a long period of time, my hands are up, bro. If you could hold attention for a long period of time, bro, you powerful. My hands are up. All I'm saying. All I'm saying. And that's what happens when creators when that is what happens when creators led leagues at a pace publisher leagues. That's what happens, bro. That's what happens, bro. Like it's real. It's real, bro. But I got a few questions though. What happens when the community's ecosystem, independent of corporations, built upon itself to the esports? Yo, I don't even know the answer to that. I don't. It just popped into my mata. You feel me? I'm just spitballing here. Cause I don't know. You know what I'm saying, bro. But but it's fair to say we're not there yet, but we're moving towards it. That's a fact. Hands is up. That is a fact. That is a fact. Now, the real nah. I won't say this is the real question. This is the second to last real question I got. Because the first real question, can esport gamers be considered athletes? But that's not the question I want to get into this right now. I want to talk about, is esports a real sport? Is it a real sport? That's the first question I'm winning. That's the damn, math is crazy. That's the second to first question I want to get into. I'm doing that backwards, but hey, don't matter. Don't matter. So is esports a real sport? Let me address that to you. Is esports a real sport? First off, what defines an athlete? Take a second, think about it. What defines an athlete? What defines an athlete, bro? Tell me. Let me know. What truly defines an athlete? Training, competition, skill, pressure, discipline? Yeah. I mean, like I said, I was a former Division One athlete. Feel me? So I did training, competition, skill, pressure, discipline, all that. Feel me? We did. How many times you woke up every day at 5, had practice at 6 a.m. Sometimes I had lift after, sometimes I had lift before. Don't forget about the afternoon practices, travel, planning, all that. Extra practice on your own outside of practice. So do esports, or can they be? Is it a real sport? Is it a real sport? Is esports a real sport? Genuine question, bro. But let's say, let me bring you facts. Let me bring you facts. There are esports players who practice 8 to 12 hours daily. But to be fair, they're just gaming. Some people could belittle it and say they're just gaming, like they're wasting their time on a video game just playing. Shit. Tell Hitman that. Tell Hit Tell Hitman Clan that for that $40,000 Marvel Rival prize pool that he fought to get but lost ultimately because his team let him down. But hey, bro, there are people that put in 8 to 12 hours daily on gaming. So is it a sport? I mean, hold on now, hold on now. Reaction time and gaming and reaction time in real athletic sports is measured in milliseconds. You feel me? Sports involve team coordination, strategy, mental endurance. Esports, believe it or not, involves team coordination, strategy, mental endurance. The only difference is there's no physical contact, no cardiovascular strain like in football, basketball, lacrosse, baseball, shit, even swimming, shit, even golf, even in golf, bro. So, what's the line, bro? What's the line? Let me ask you, what's the line? Hmm? Would you say chess is a sport? Is NASCAR a sport? Is archery a sport? Come on, bro. If competition and skill and discipline is what makes a sport, then is it not right to say esports qualifies as a sport? Hmm? But hey, for those who argue that physical exertion is mandatory, then maybe it doesn't qualify as a sport. If you consider physical exertion mandatory for it to be a sport, then it doesn't. However, though, does that even matter? Be honest with yourself. Does that label even matter? Does it even matter, bruh? I don't know. I don't think it does. You feel me? I'm saying Esports right now owns the demographic of anybody from the ages of 18 to 34, give or take. But that's a fact. That is a fact. Hey, that's a fact though. That's a fact though. Now, this is the same traditional audience that traditional sports target. Esports, traditional sports, we got the same target audience group. Gen Z grew up digital. They grew up. If don't even get me started with COVID. After COVID, whew, everything became remote. Everything's online. So digital era, rather the virtual stadium, ever booming. God damn. The rise of the virtual stadium, ever booming, bro. Like you got Gen Z people who grew up watching streams. I watch some streams. I ain't even gonna lie to you from time to time, but I only watch main streamers. Like God, I only watch. I watch his shit. Then Speed, because you did that whole African tour. Other than that, yeah, no, that's about it. Other than that, like, unless it's some big thing happening, I don't really feel me. But Gen Z, they grew up digital. They grew up watching streamers. So what happens when digital natives control the culture? Because time is changing. A lot is changing. You feel me? So what happens when digital natives control the culture? What happens? Hey, good question. Good question. Don't just let me answer that. That's for y'all to think about. You gotta answer that too. But hey, let's talk about the culture one now though. You feel me? Why do people resist esports so much? You feel me? Like, why do y'all resist esports so much? I'm gonna say the resistance to esport isn't about sweet. You feel me? It's about identity. Identity. Like for decade, masculinity was tied to physical dominance. Football, basketball, bowling, bowing, ooh, lacrosse, all this, all this. But now, bro, a teenager in the chair can out earn a linebacker. A teenager sitting down in the chair can out earn a linebacker playing Call of Duty. That's a real right fact. But this type of style, this threatens the old narrative. It threatens the whole hemisphere, it threatens that whole shit, bro. But mental warfare is still warfare, bro. Mental warfare is still warfare. Strategy is still strategy. Pressure is still pressure. And if money and attention define relevance, then esports is already a full culture powerful. It's already fully culturally powerful. It's already a full culture warehouse, bro. That's a fact. That is a fact. See that? My hands are up. That is a fact, bro. That is a fact. Now, with the rise of the virtual stadium, all this, it's only fair to talk about 10-year projections of esports. 10-year projection of how this will go. 10 years from now, it's safe to say that virtual reality arenas where fans sit courtside virtually. Ah, man, esports betting integrated into streams, AI coaches analyzing gameplay, crossover between NBA teams owning esports divisions, hybrid athletes competing physically and digitally. Even though some do that, can't say some do that now. I could say there are some that are doing that, like Speed. Actual Speed, he's athletically gifted. Was what top receiver in Ohio in high school at some point. I don't know, something like that. But he's a gamer, streamer too, and he's doing all of this. So hybrid athletes competing physically and digitally is out there. And then you got African servers producing world champions. I'm African myself, bro. That is proud to see. That's in the see, man. But the best part, you got universities expanding college scholarships to streaming athletes. A lot of folks will be mad about that because they can argue why are people sitting down in the game playing video games, getting scholarships over actual athletes doing this, doing that, doing that. But bro, here's the biggest shift, man. A kid in Harlem, Kennedy, Ivory Coast, a kid in Seoul, same service, same stage. That's a democracy, man. You can call that democratization. Democratization. See, that's the virtual stadium I've been talking about from the beginning. That is a virtual stadium. Esports isn't just replacing traditional sports. You feel me? It's not just replacing traditional sports. It's expanding competition. And if you're not paying attention, then you're late. That's the best way to say it. Now, back to my first question though. You feel me? Because I said I had two. It's one important question. Now, this one is, can esports players be considered athletes? Can they be considered athletes? I had a whole argument, not even an argument, a conversation about this the other day. You feel me? Me being an athlete, it's logical to say no, they not. But if you really think about it, why are we saying no for it? You feel me? Like you were talking about hand-eye coordination. Yeah, I did research on this and it was like gamers have this thing called APM, AMP. It's like or MPA. Ah man, I wish I had it up front of me. But it's like analytic means per minute, something like that. But either way, they hand eye coordination when they're gaming and able to get a kill streak, a KO in Call of Duty while not picking a trick shot. Like at that, never pick a trick shot and getting it on the dot. Insane. That's like compare that to wide receiver catching a perfectly placed a football right in their hand. Like, you feel me? It's like that, bro. It's like that. So our athletes gamers or athletes gamers. Wow. Athletes are gamers. There are some talented gamers. But are gamers athletes? Can gamers be considered athletes? Yeah, I say so. You can argue with me, but it's a fact. It is a fact, bro. It's just a fact. But hey man, I was trying to go for an hour. We got a good 40 minutes. This is just talk to Safar, man. This is only episode one. The rise of the virtual stadium. I'm just spitting facts, perspectives. Feel me? I'm talking about esports, but also talking about whatever comes to my mind. We're just getting started. That's really it. The rise of the virtual stadium. Hey, my hands are up. I ain't lying. And that's a fact. My name is Mountain Mate. This is Talk 225. Catch you another day.